Hey guys, let's talk about making homemade corn tortillas, tortillas de maíz. So I've tried different kinds of flours all over, from buying fresh masa from the market to grinding my own corn. These are three flours that I've tried and have come out fairly decent every time I've done it. As you can see, they come in different colors, and I don't know if you can tell, but there's also different textures to these flours. And because of that, pay no mind to the recipes on these bags. This is all done by feel. And when you do it over and over and over again, you get familiar with the texture you need to make the perfect tortilla. Here we have the masa from Hacienda. You can see it's a little more yellow. It's thick. It's a little coarse. The masa from Maseca is a little bit thinner than that. It kind of falls in between both of these, or all three of these flours, and the King Arthur flour is a little bit more silky, a little bit more light. I kind of favor the King Arthur myself because it makes a great tortilla and also has a longer lifespan, especially when reheating. So here I have the King Arthur masa, and I'm not quite sure what the recipe is on this bag, but I'm not going to follow it. I have about a cup of masa and about a little over a cup of warmish to hot water, and I'm just going to work it in little by little. I know I'm not going to use all this water. I'll add a little bit of salt. I'll just mix it in with my fingers, and I'm kind of looking for a Play-Doh type consistency. That texture is going to change when you let the dough rest a little while. The flour will rehydrate and soak up a little bit more of that water, and it'll change and dry up a little bit. So I kind of tend to leave it on the wet side in the beginning. So I'll just work it in with my fingers and try to form a ball that kind of doesn't stick to the bowl anymore, doesn't stick to your fingers anymore. Remember, you can always add water, you can always add a little bit more flour. And just feel it. Here I am getting a little bit closer. Here I'm going to form a ball and press it with my fingers. If I see any heavy cracks in my dough, then I know my dough is a little too dry. Right now it feels like it's pretty right on. So I'm going to work it in and make a big ball and put it back in the bowl and cover it with a moist towel and let my dough rest for a little while, maybe half an hour, and I'll come back and check on it. Meanwhile, I have this chuck flap here in front of me, one of my favorite cuts of meat. You can cook these to temp, or you can slow braise these. Due to the amount of marbling this cut of meat has, they are extremely delicious. If you're a fan of the skirt steak, also known as the fajita, I'd say go to your local butcher and see if you can find one. Very tender, very delicious. So back to the video. I'll season both sides here with salt and pepper. My grill is getting nice and hot at the moment. And we'll go outside and put this on the grill. Here we are, little mini grill. I'll throw this on the fire, direct fire, and then move it over to the cold side. We'll see what this feels like. It needs a little bit longer. Alright, we're going to pull this off and just let it rest, and I'll go back to my tortillas. So here's my dough after it's been sitting for a little while. I'm going to take off a piece and ball it up and test it again. See what it feels like. No heavy cracks. I'm looking pretty good. So we'll just ball these up and divide them out little by little. Let's see how many I can get out of here. Here I have my press, one of the dough balls, and I'll get ready to make a tortilla. Just a little bit of pressure, not too heavy, kind of spin it around. These cast iron presses aren't the greatest, but they do the trick. Here's my tortilla, and I can see that the edges look really nice. pretty smooth and not a lot of cracks. Here I have a hot pan. I'll remove the raw tortilla from the plastic and just lightly lay it in. You don't want to slap it in there, just kind of lightly lay it in. After a few seconds, give it a turn. You don't want it to fully cook on one side, just a few seconds on each side until it starts to form a little crust on either side. If you did it right, they'll souffle on you and it'll look beautiful. Just like that. When they're done, I put them in a linen, cover them up, and cover in the lid from the tortilla holder that I have. That'll keep warm for hours. And here's my bounty. Nice, warm, fresh, homemade corn tortillas. Let's make a quick guacamole. We'll cut into our steak. And here I use the guacamole as a base for my taco. It's almost going to act like glue for my steak when I put it on. A little bit of finishing salt, a little bit of salsa, maybe some other kind of salsa in the middle one, some fine diced onion, finish with cilantro, and I'll see you next time.